Hey there. Have you heard about creating your ideal week, but just not sure where to even begin? And what the heck even needs to be included? And then, like, maybe you're thinking, well, if I can figure that out, then what's the best tool to use? Well, today I am going to cover all of this for you. Okay. But before we dig in, I want you to be sure and hit that bell and subscribe because I publish a new episode every Thursday. I'm Kathy Schneider, in case we've not met, and I've been an online entrepreneur since 2001, helping solopreneurs like yourself elevate your game with streamlined workflows and organized habits. I do this so you can maximize your productivity because I am all about helping you spend more time doing the things you enjoy with the people you love and not working every free minute of every day. Okay, let's dive in. Obviously, we are all in different seasons of life. Maybe you're a mom with young kids. Maybe you don't have kids at all. Or maybe yours, like mine, are all grown, but now you have elderly parents that you're caring for. Or maybe you have pieces of each of these, but you also work part-time. Or maybe you work full-time. Plus, you've got this business that you're working to build, right? Well, regardless of what your responsibilities are in life, as you know it today, okay, whatever that is today, as a solopreneur, you need an ideal week and you need it on a calendar based on your circumstances, okay? Initially, I created my ideal week using a good old pen and paper. This is back in 2010. I switched to Google Calendar. Oh, I don't know. I think it was maybe in 2000, just about that time, maybe. Yeah, let me think back. Okay, I started it with pen and paper. Then it was in 2010. I think Google Calendar came out in 2009, and I switched to Google Calendar in 2010. And that has been my go-to tool for creating my ideal week ever since. Okay, after we covered the basic outline to include in your ideal week, which I'm going to do right now, then I'm going to share my screen, okay? And I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on how to maneuver around Google Calendar. Since I've been using it since 2010, I've got a little experience with it because I update mine every quarter, okay? So I'm going to share a few tips that I've learned through the years and hopefully save you a few mistakes that I've made as well. All right, so some quarters I make just a few minor updates. And then other quarters, other times, I find major adjustments that are needed, okay? You're probably going to do the same. So I want you to, I think back to like when my children were little and then they started in school. And of course, they started in preschool and it was so many days, half day. And then I had one that started kindergarten and that was all day, but 5 days a week. But I still had one in preschool. And then I had one older in I guess in high school. And so at one point it was like every semester of school and then during the summer and then the holidays, things were constantly changing. So I had to adjust my ideal week accordingly. All right, but these are the things that need to be included in your ideal week, okay? Number one, your morning routine. I can link to a couple of videos that I've done on this. It is so important. It's imperative that your morning routine time be specified when that's going to happen on your ideal week. Your evening routine, okay? Because your morning routine, even though that's not what this training is about, I'm going to put this in there. Your your morning routine begins with your evening routine. So when you end your evening or your night, your day correctly, it's going to give you a jump start the next morning. All right. And then your workday startup, which for me, that's about 30 minutes. There was a time when it was about 5 minutes. Okay. So it'll adjust as your business grows and you have more responsibilities. When you start up your workday, whether that be in the morning, like mine is at 9 a.m., or maybe yours is, maybe you have a full-time job and you start working your business when you get home, or maybe your startup is at lunchtime, whatever that is, then yours will be, when it is. That's how I want you to create this around your schedule as your life is today. So your workday startup, then you also want a workday shutdown. The startup and shutdown, the reason for these is so that you can absolutely take care of those things that need to be done every day before you start your work and after, and then you sandwich between all the other little things that need to be done as a solopreneur entrepreneur. Okay. So you want to do that. And then all of your breaks during the day. Okay. And this is especially important if you work from home full time and you, let's say you don't have children at home, whether they're grown or you don't have kids, and there's no one to interrupt you, right? So that you don't get those breaks that are unexpected. But what happens is you literally sit at your computer working. You look at the end of the day, you realize you skipped lunch, you maybe ran to the bathroom twice, you forgot to ever rehydrate, didn't keep water with you at the desk, and you just totally forgot. Things like that. Okay. So breaks during the day must include healthy meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. All right. They've got to include those. And then professional development time. You've got to decide, when are you going to do that? For me, I have 2 times. I do personal development during my morning routine, which is I try to read about 10 pages of a good book and when I say good book, it's not, I have nothing against novels and, just reading for pleasure, nothing against that at all. But when it comes to my personal and professional development, I've got to make sure that I am being intentional about those 2 things. So personal development, I read 10 pages of a good book, and then professional development every day during my 3:00 work session. I do some type of professional development. That may be a course that I'm involved in. That may be another book that I'm reading. It could be an audio. It could be a membership that I'm a part of and I want to jump in and do some work in. Whatever that is, whatever I've decided that I'm going to work on and improve on for that particular quarter, then during that 3:00 session, which is about 45 minutes, 3 to 3:45, I am working on that area in my business. Okay. So it's professional development. You've got to specify time for exercise. That is imperative. And then family nights, date nights with your significant other. All right. Make sure those things are on that ideal week. And obviously you want to include any activities that are on your schedule regularly, like maybe it's church or, maybe work, like we mentioned, maybe you have a full-time or part-time job. Those things need to be on there. Those are not optional, right? You've got to show up. Or anything that you are personally responsible for showing up and taking care of. Maybe it's picking your kids up from school. Maybe it's taking your kids to school. Whatever that is, you want to make sure you have those. And then I'm sure you're asking, but what about my business? Like you've talked about all these things, but other than the startup and the shutdown and the personal and professional development, where do I work my business in? No worries. That's next. I've tried so many different schedules. And for many years now, this is what I have found to work best. I break my business activities down to 3 areas, 5 if you count the workday startup and shutdown. Okay, like I mentioned in number 1 and number 2 earlier. Here's the 3 areas that must be included in your ideal week. Recurring activities like content creation, be that YouTube, blogging, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Wherever you're active, okay, wherever you show up and deliver content of value to your followers, your readers, that type of thing. These are activities that are normally repeated weekly, but not necessarily every day. As an example, I will batch post 5 YouTube videos 1 week a month. So it repeats every month, but it doesn't repeat every day of, it's not every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's not even necessarily every Monday. This is my schedule. So I'm just saying these are things that they repeat weekly, but not necessarily every day. Maybe week 1 of the month, like me, you block this time for YouTube creation. Week 2 could be for your blog. Week 3 could be batching Instagram and Facebook. These are just examples. Maybe week 4 is when you create a new masterclass that you're going to release inside your course or your membership. Then number 2, this is the number 2. Remember I mentioned there's 3 areas. Okay, the number 2 is engaging with audience, kind of like your social media time. This is whatever social media channels you are active on. as well as in Messenger, your emails, because you've got this email list that you're building, right? Or you better be building that email list. So you want to make sure that this is time when you check those emails. Maybe it's when you create an email to be sent out, anything like that. Showing up in your personal communities, like a Facebook group that you own, you're responsible for showing up and communicating with and answering questions and stuff. That could also be in this space number 2. This block is usually an activity that needs to be repeated daily. So for me, that social media time, I mean, I repeat that every single day, Monday through Friday. Okay. Unless it's like we're out of town. And even then I'll squeeze in a few minutes of it. Project number 3. These are for projects. Okay. So this is section number 3, projects. And these are optional, but this is where I schedule things in. These are things that are optional, but it's where I schedule in things like creating a new course, updating content for an existing course, or maybe creating a deliverable, or maybe knocking out I've got this new idea for this new funnel, or maybe you've got one, there's something planned. Maybe you're thinking, oh, I want to create a new email sequence for my subscribers, like a welcome series. Well, that would be a time to block that in. Because I don't work outside of the home, I like to schedule 2 block sessions a day, Monday through Friday, for these projects. So my projects, this number 3 space, I do it at 1 o'clock and I do it again at 2 o'clock. I work in 45-minute blocks, then I take that 15-minute break that I mentioned. And so I've got 2 sessions. And what's cool about that is that allows me, when we're traveling or like during the holidays, I don't schedule special projects. So it gives me extra time away from the office without eliminating or getting behind or falling behind with those things that repeat in like my morning work, my workday startup, workday shutdown. And then I mentioned the things like the social media. I don't get behind on those things, or like getting my YouTubes done and my blog and all of that. I don't get behind because those are done in those other sessions. So my special projects sessions, or that section that I mentioned, those are able to be done so that in the month of December, for example, I can just eliminate those if I want to. Or my husband and I usually take about a month a year and we'll travel, and maybe broken down into 2 different 2-week trips. That's fine. I get to say, okay, no projects during these trips. Get up, take care of what needs to be taken care of. We always travel in our RV, so I can get up early, get those things knocked out, and then we've got the rest of the day to play. We come back to the RV that evening, and I'm able to do some, 30 minutes of workday shutdown, which is just checking in on email, checking in on, customer service, a few things that I need to check in on, and then I'm done. So anyway, I hope that helps. So let's jump over to my computer. And I want to show you how this looks as you begin to plug it all in to Google Calendar. All right, welcome back. So in this video, what I want to help you with is show you kind of how to maneuver around Google Calendar. All right, it's super simple, but there's a few little tricks that I think, I know will be beneficial if I go ahead and just point those out to you. So specifically in this example, we are designing our ideal week, or your ideal week. Okay. Now, obviously, if you were sitting here with me, I could ask you questions and we could totally do this, around your schedule and what your ideal week is. But because you're not, I'm just going to make this stuff up. I'll use my personal schedule and things that I have going on as examples, but then I'll throw in some other examples as well. But I want to keep this as short as I can. So mainly I want to show you where things are around the calendar. So first and foremost, to go to Google, to get to Google Calendar, you will go to Google Calendar calendar.google.com. Okay, so calendar.google.com. I'll put this link below the video, but calendar.google.com. So that's where you start off if you've never, been to Google Calendar before and you haven't saved it. I will give you a little tip up here in my little folder here, my AM startup. I saved it as a favorite because this is something I go to every single morning. It's one of the first things I open up on my computer when I sit down to work. Okay, so that's right there. All right. But when you've never been there, you need to know where to go. The first thing you want to do is you want to go down here to the little where it says other calendars, and you want to hit the plus sign, and you're going to create a new calendar. So I hit the little plus sign at the bottom. All of these things you see listed above that are calendars that I have created. We will get more into this in the membership. So if you're in the membership, you will learn more and more about Google Calendars and the reasons for having multiple calendars. But like I say, in this particular video, the main point I want to get across is your ideal week. Okay. And you can see, here's mine right here. I've got Q4, my ideal week. Because this was Q4 for 2023, we are doing Q1 for 2024 is what we're doing. So that's why I have selected up here. I'm on the week of January 2024, and you can see it's Monday the 8th. I did not want to start it on the 1st because I'm like, well, that's a holiday. That's probably not my ideal week. Let's say this is my ideal week for the the first quarter of January 2024. I want a typical week that has no holidays. So I picked right here for my example for you. So again, down here, hit the plus sign, and we're going to create new calendar. We're going to name the calendar, and I'm going to name it Q1 2024. I'll be honest, I normally don't put the year only because I update it every quarter. So it's always the current quarter. Okay. And I'm going to put this here just for an example. And then I'm going to do my ideal week. All right. It's already got my time zone here. If your time zone doesn't show up correctly, you can do this little drop down and select it. And then you're going to create calendar. And it now says successfully created. So I'm going to go back over here where it says settings. And you see that the little check mark here is checked for Q1 2024. So that tells me anything I put into these spaces is going to go onto this particular calendar. Okay. So first and foremost, I want you to think about when I like to start everything with my morning routine, which is my intentional routine. When I get up in the morning, it's my time to focus on my goals, my affirmations, my vision. I do some personal development reading. I have my prayer and devotional time. That is, like, to me, the most important way to start my day. Okay. So I like to do that first. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to hit create. You're going to create an event, not a task. And I'm going to say this, morning routine. We'll just make it super simple. And it is going to start at, we'll just say, let's see, let's go up and we'll start it at 6 a.m. It can be done in 30 minutes, to be honest. I like to give myself an hour. So I'm going to, or a little bit, 45 minutes to an hour. So I'm going to just say 45 minutes, going to do this. Now, here's what I want, some important things I want to point out. One thing you want to do is you want to click on this, does not repeat. You want to block down. And I like to do mine daily. So I'm going to select daily. Then I'm going to select more options. And one of the most important things you want to do is you want to block off whether you're busy or free. Now, obviously at 6 a.m. in the morning, it's sort of irrelevant. But as your business, and maybe your business is already in this position where you're letting people make appointments with you through a scheduler of some sort. Well, when you do that, that scheduler is going to be grabbing from particular calendars. Now, normally you get to pick which calendars you want that to be selected from, but it's sometimes if you accidentally pick one that's not, you miss, like not including your ideal week, it would say that you were busy when in fact you weren't. So I always like to just put everything for my ideal week as free, because this is strictly a template. Like, this is not my actual appointments, correct? It's just a template. So I don't want to say that I'm busy and then not be able to be scheduled there because it's on a calendar that I don't even actually look at or use on a daily basis. All right. And then you can go up here and you can select a color. Now, one thing, there is a way to use custom colors. We're not going to get into that. I'll do another video on that at some point. I'm just going to use the standard colors. I do prefer using the custom colors for my own calendars because I like using colors that are with my brand because I'm looking at it all day, every day. And to me, they're just more appealing. Excuse me, but for this one, I'm just going to pick lavender for that, and I'm going to hit save. Now you'll see it goes all the way across, and it's got the little bit of red. That's because this calendar is assigned a red color, okay? And again, I could switch that if I wanted to, but it's irrelevant because I'm going to punch in, things for each. I'm going to select a color for each thing that I schedule. Now, next you want to say, okay, when is your startup for the day? We're going to work on the business basics, okay? And of course, if you have a job or anything like that. So workday startup, I am going to say that I want that to always be at 9 a.m. And again, we don't have to do all of this. The main thing I want you to see is how it works. So I'm going to say 9 to 9:30. That is what I like to do for that 30-minute startup. Remember, you want it to repeat. This is only going to repeat Monday through Friday. Okay, so I'm going to do Monday through Friday. I'm going to select more options. I'm going to say that I am free. And then I'm going to select a color. This one I'll pick gold and I'll save. Then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to select again, and I'm going to do workday shutdown. Well, I need to spell it correctly. That's not good. Okay, workday shutdown. And let's see, we are going to select, let's see, I like to shut down at 4 o'clock. And again, I limit that to 30 minutes. One thing I have found, whatever amount of time you allow is how long it'll take you. So I like to keep this is one reason I love scheduling, because I don't want to look up and my day's gone. And it was, I didn't get the things done that I wanted to get done because I didn't designate the time. And so it just filled up all the time that I had. So I've got this as free. I've selected my color because I like to do the same for the startup and shutdown. Now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to decide when is my lunchtime going to be. You can put in other things if you've got, things you want to put in, say from 6:45 till 9 a.m. as an example. You could fill things in for personal if you want to. That's totally up to you. I do, but not necessarily on my ideal calendar. This is specifically, I like to get, the things on here that are just the basics. It's not that detailed. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to do healthy lunch and household. So, well, be honest, this is what I normally do. And this is the reason I want to help you with this. Make sure you schedule in when you're going to exercise. As a solopreneur, this is so important. And this is going to be from when you're working from home. So it's not just a solopreneur, but if you're working from home, it's really important that you schedule when you're going to exercise. So this is from 11:30 until 1. And then it's going to repeat every weekday, more options. I'm going to say that I'm free again. And I'm going to select a color. And I usually use blue for anything that is around the house. All right. So I've got that done. So now you can see I've got morning times slots that I can fill in, and I have afternoon time slots I can fill in. These are times that I will go in and I will actually designate what I want to fill in where. And this is basically all I wanted to show you. Now I'm going to jump over to my ideal week and show you what mine looks like so you can see an example, which was in a previous training, but I just want you to have that so that you've got it. But these are the basic things you want to do on an ideal week. And then you want to decide, when will I always work? When will I never work? And then, of course, any white space could be when I will sometimes work, okay? Another thing that I always schedule in is my weekly review and preview. So this is always, for me, I prefer you could do it on a Friday afternoon. You could do it on a Monday morning. I like doing it on a Sunday because I like doing it late in the afternoon while my husband is watching NASCAR or whatever he's watching, which is usually NASCAR. And so I will do that. I will give myself about 45 minutes. And it is late in the afternoon because this is the time that we've got things going on during the day with the family. Then, I've got time to do that. But then, of course, and then this one is going to repeat weekly on Sunday. So that's an example if you have something that only repeats one day a week, okay? And then I'm going to go to more options. And of course, I'm going to select free. And then I'm going to come up here, and this is planning time. So I'm going to do it. To me, that is like sacred. It's almost like a money-making activity, because I know if I don't plan my week, when you waste your time, you're actually wasting your money. So I like to put that in green. So I've got that here as an example. And there again, with it being your ideal week, you don't have to designate all the different colors if you don't want to, but these are just examples. All right, so I've got that down, and we've got the startup and the end. And then I like to do my evening routine. And don't laugh at me, but I don't have children at home anymore, or not small children. And my kids are all grown. So I am able to go to bed when I want to, which is really nice. And I am usually in bed by 9 o'clock. So I do my evening routine at 8:30. More options. I do free. And I'm going to do this in purple as well, and save. So I've got my morning routine and my evening routine. You can see everything is sandwiched in between that. And then, of course, sleep would be, right after that. And then you can see I've got this morning time here all the way across. Plus, I've got all of Saturday, a big part of Sunday. These are times that are, for family and for household projects, that type of thing. And then I have morning sessions that I can fill in here. And then I have afternoon sessions. One thing that I personally have started doing now that I'm full-time working from home is I schedule my professional development time. This is time to go through courses. This is time to go through, I do some reading in the morning during my morning routine. I'll be honest, my morning routine is more like an hour and a half, sometimes even 2 hours now. But I make sure that I still do some computer personal development time in the afternoon most days. I won't necessarily do it every day, but I do it most days. And I do that as the last session of my work day. So I do it from 3 until 3:45. And this is another thing I wanted to point out. The reason I wanted to put this in here, let's put that it repeats every day. Free. But I make sure that there is a 15-minute block of time in between. So my sessions are from 1 to 1:45, 2 to 2:45, and 3 to 3:45 in the afternoons. And then in the mornings, I'll take a 15-minute break at 9. So it's 9:45 to 10:30, and then till 10:45, and then I'll 9 to 9:30, and then I take a 15-minute break. So 9:45 to 10:30, and then 10:45 to 11:30. And then that's when I take my lunch break. And so that's an extended amount of time there. Okay. So these are examples. I do fill this in. So now let's jump over to this one and you'll see this is an example of everything filled in. I've even on this one, I've got our date night in here. I have our healthy dinner, when we have dinner, I have another walk that I do in that late after evening. I have another walk that I do late afternoon, family night. And then of course and I go ahead and put in the lunchtime here just to keep us on schedule as we're planning things. And so that but I'll be honest, I mean, Saturdays and Sundays, I don't hold to it near as tightly, but during the week, I'm pretty good about sticking to my schedule. So this is an example of how you can fill in, but I mainly wanted you to see how you created a calendar and then how you can select and make things repeat. So if I go to the next week, you see they're still there. They continue. And this is something, and then I will take a screenshot of this calendar and I'll use it to set up my regular schedule or to adjust my regular schedule each quarter. And I do every quarter. I look at it and say, what's working, what hasn't been working, or how are the seasons changing during the summer? I like to swim during the day. We have a pool. And so I make sure that I schedule more. That may work a little later in the evening, but I take a longer lunch break and the time to be able to shower afterwards and that type of thing. So I just shift everything a little for the summer months, when it's warm outside. So anyway, these are just ideas for you. I hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. So there you have it. Be sure to look below this video for some free resources that I've created for you. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and be sure to hit that bell because I publish a new episode every Thursday. And in the next one, I am going to be sharing a really fun topic, fix your workflow. I'm going to share 5 tactics to improve efficiency. And remember, keep challenging, keep learning, and keep growing.